The boy held out both hands for the seal, the way I had held out mine 60 years before, and for the length of a long breath I did not give it to him. We do not call ourselves jailers. The quorum have a gentler word for it, wardens, and we have worn it 9 generations, my line and I, out here at the last cairn where the charts go quiet and the stars thin to almost nothing. Behind me stood the wardstone, a slab of black rock taller than 3 of us, unmarked but for a single line cut waist-high across its face. In front of me stood Toll, not yet old enough to grow the warden's stripe along his jaw, waiting to take a name he did not understand, and a duty no one had ever fully explained to him. That is the whole of what we keep. Not a wall, there is nothing here to build a wall against, only the dark and the few cold stars hung past the edge of human space. We keep the mark, the line on every chart that tells the ships of the living they do not pass. We keep the buoys that sing the turn-back tone into the void. We keep the logs of what comes near and what goes away again. And we keep the seal, the first seal, the founder's tablet, handed warden to warden down all 9 generations, and never once opened. I had meant to give it to the boy closed, as my father gave it to me, as his mother gave it to him. That is the office. Hold the line, hold the seal, hand both on. Do not ask. My father told me the not asking was the work itself. He said it the way you recite a prayer you have stopped believing and still cannot stop saying. But the night before, the boy had asked me a question I had no warden's answer for. He had asked who we were keeping out. I told him what I had been told, that long before my line began, ships went into human space and did not come back. Not some of them. None of them. A scouting flight of the Estren 41 hulls crossed the mark to chart what the elder species refused to chart, and the galaxy never heard one more word from a single one of them. No wreckage, no distressed tone, no drifting black box ticking out its last seconds. Only silence where 41 ships had been. Then a cowled armada grander, certain it would find what cowards had missed. The same silence swallowed it whole. After the 3rd such silence, the councils drew the line and gave the keeping of it to my founder, and the keeping has not stopped since. I told him about the one that came back. I had not meant to. It is not in the logs we show the young. But once in my grandfather's watch, a single Velwarren hauler crossed the mark on a dare and returned 11 days later, drifting, engines cold, every soul aboard alive and unhurt. The wardens brought them in. The crew would not speak, not refused, but could not, as though there were no longer words behind their eyes for what they had seen. They sat where they were put. They ate when fed. One of them, a navigator, drew the same shape on every surface she could reach for the rest of her short life. A line and a closed door and nothing behind it. We do not say their names. We keep their hauler welded shut in the cairn's lower dark, and we do not go down there. The boy should know that the legend does its own work. Twice in my watch a ship came up out of the dark with glory in its mind, and twice I turned it back with nothing in my hands at all. The last was a young captain of the Threnic, his vessel newer than my whole station, who hailed me to say the old fears were superstition, and the mark was a line drawn by frightened small people. I did not argue. I gave him the buoy's tone and the law and the logs of the 41 and the armada and the hauler in the dark below me. He listened. Then he turned his fine new ship around and went home, and I never learned whether it was the law or the logs or only the sound of my voice, old and unafraid out here alone, that did it. That is the warden's whole arsenal, the legend, nothing else. For 60 years I held the line and asked the one forbidden question in the silence of my own skull. Why? Why does the strongest border in the galaxy face inward? Why are there no guns on the wardstone, no fleet at my back, nothing here but an old quorum and a boy and a slab of rock with a line on it? If humanity is the terror the logs say, if it eats whole armadas and gives back broken navigators, then what good is one unarmed warden against it? We were never built to stop them coming out. I had always known that, in the cold animal part of me. We were built to stop everyone else from going in. So that night, before the handover, I did the thing 9 generations of my blood had refused to do. I broke the first seal. It did not shatter. It parted along a seam worn soft by waiting, and inside was no weapon, no map, no catalog of horrors. Inside was a single tablet, the founder's hand upon it, and beneath the founder's hand, a thing I had not been taught to expect. Another hand entirely older, in a script the founder had copied faithfully without translating, because some of it he had not dared to change. The founder had not drawn the mark. He had been asked to keep it. The words were near enough these as the old script gives them. We are not asking you to fence us in because we are strong. We are asking because we have learned what we become when we are afraid. We crossed our own dark once. We did not like who came back. So we have drawn this line around ourselves with our own hands, and we are asking the oldest and steadiest among you to help us hold it shut, not from your side but for it. Call it a border if a border comforts you. We have a different word. The script gave the word, and the founder had left it in the human tongue, untouched, the one foreign mark on the whole tablet. Mercy. I sat with that a long time. All my life I had believed I stood between the galaxy and a monster. I had stood, instead, beside a door a frightened giant had closed upon itself and begged us to mind. The armadas that vanished had not been devoured by something hunting outward. They had crossed into a quarantine the strongest hands in the galaxy had built so that the rest of us would never have to meet what those hands could do, and could not forgive themselves for having done. The 41. The Calv. The hauler crew with the closed door behind their eyes. They had not been attacked. They had only gone where they were begged not to go, and learned the shape of the thing the line was drawn around. There is no mercy in a wall that keeps you out. There is mercy only in a wall that someone stronger than you holds shut, so you never have to find out what waits on the other side, especially when the one holding it shut is also the thing that waits there. In the morning I gave the boy the seal. I gave it to him open, the first warden of my line ever to do so, and I gave him the word that goes with it, the human word, the one we were never told and never needed in order to do the work. He turned it over in his mouth. He did not understand it yet. He will. The watch teaches you slowly, the way the dark past the mark teaches the ones who cross it all at once. He took the line name, Morset of the line of Moore, who was handed a door and kept it without ever knowing why, so the rest of us could go on not knowing. I told the boy he would keep it the same way, only now he would know, and that knowing is heavier than not knowing, and that this is the cost of his name, and that there is no one left to give it back to. Then I showed him the turn-back buoys, and the logs, and the welded hauler in the lower dark we do not open. I showed him the line cut waist-high in the black stone. And I told him the last thing a warden truly hands-on, the thing my father tried to give me with all his not tasking and could not find the words for. We are not here to keep them in. They can leave the day the wanting outgrows the mercy. We are here so that on the morning they stop asking us to hold the line, we are still standing at it. And we will know before anyone else in the galaxy knows, by the sound of the buoys going quiet, one by one, from the inside. He asked me then the way I once asked, who we were keeping out. No one, I told him. We are keeping a promise. Pray you never learn what it cost the ones who made it.